Hey Keisha, thanks again for coming in today. I know that the first session was a little bit hard, but that's part of the process. So just let's go ahead and get started. I know that I asked you to write your impact statement as part of the completion of our first session.
Yeah.
Do you have that ready?
I do.
Okay, yeah. Do you want to go ahead and read that for me?
Sure. Since the event, I have lost all sense of trust for any man around me. I have no desire to leave my home, and when I do, I feel like it's my responsibility to try to hide in plain sight. I feel like I cannot wear any nice or colorful clothes because this will just draw attention to myself. And honestly, I just want to be invisible because every time a man looks at me, I'm taken back to that day, and I feel myself panicking, knowing that they would hurt me too if they could. I only really feel safe at home, but even then I find it sometimes, even hard to look at my husband. I know that he and my sister both care about me and want me to get better. I just know that it's not going to happen.
Okay. I want to start off by saying I appreciate you, writing that. I know that this is definitely hard, but the goal here is to help you work through some of these issues that you're talking about. Looking at this statement or hearing this statement, it sounds like there's a lot of feelings of not being able to move forward. It feels like you're struggling with certain aspects. When you look back at this statement, does anything surprise you about what you read or what you wrote?
Not really.
No?
No. That's how I'm feeling.
So you're not surprised by your general feelings towards, am I understanding correctly, any man that you see, you do not trust at this current time?
Yeah, maybe I guess there's that little part that's just not trusting.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that's a big factor of what we're going to be talking about today is the concept of stuck points. A lot of times when we go through a traumatic experience, we begin to develop and change our view of the world around us. And it's heavily impacted by our traumatic experiences. And in order for us to move past that traumatic experience, we need to be able to recognize where we are currently stuck so that we can continue to move forward. So reading through that impact statement again, do you see anything that you might not have said before the event? Are there any feelings that you don't think would have been there before having this experience happen?
Just wanting to feel invisible.
Yeah, that's hard. I know. I can definitely sympathize. Yeah, so I mean, that is definitely a big factor. So would you say that you were a very outgoing person before? I know you talked about being very vocal with your friends and other things and liking to listen to loud music. How do you think that's changed since the experience?
I really just don't feel comfortable outside my own space.
Mm-hmm. What's kind of the underlying feeling there, if you had to put an emotion on it using our emotion wheel?
Self-preservation.
Yeah, okay. That's good, yeah. So this is probably this is a good example of what we would qualify as a stuck point. Preservation is a very real, very capable emotion for you to experience. It's a very real behavior and reaction to our environment. The problem is whether or not it's always relevant to the current environment. Would you say that it's warranted to say that you're currently constantly in a mode of self-preservation?
Maybe yes.
Okay. If you were to look at somebody else and their experiences, do you think that would be beneficial for their mental health? How do you think that could impact somebody over a long-term basis?
Very bad.
Any ideas how?
Well, you're just constantly in fight or flight mode. There's no relaxation.
Yeah. I think that's a great response. I think that's a great thought process there. So I'm not saying how you're feeling right now, you shouldn't be feeling that, and just not going to give you any tools to work on that, right? We need to recognize the stuck points are there. We know that they're here. You're here right now. You're making an effort, so that's already the first step. One of the tools that we're going to use to kind of adjust and look at that is an ABC worksheet. Have you ever heard of an ABC worksheet?
No.
So an ABC worksheet is essentially based on, we just want to look at the basis of your action. So we have an action, we have a behavior, and we have a consequence. So to give you an example here, your action in this instance is you're avoiding going out, or your emotion is your action, is fear. Your behavior is not going out, not wanting to engage. And the consequence is continuing that train of thought, continuing that action. So what we want to do as part of our lesson today is kind of evaluating why that's happening. And so we can look into potentially developing different coping mechanisms or different trains of thought as we're approaching different scenarios. Do you have any thoughts about this going into ABCs? Any hesitations or anything?
No.
No? Any concerns?
I guess just bringing up the consequences, I guess, will be interesting, but
Yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah, and obviously we want, once we start, so the goal today is to introduce it, have you go through, no, we're not going to talk about your traumatic experience today. We're not going to talk about the incident. We're going to talk about some smaller items. We're going to talk about, things that you've thought about in your day that have impacted things, and we're going to build up. So we just need to establish a baseline. The goal here is that, we're going to have some paper, which I know we talked about in the beginning, but I just want to, or last session, but I do want to confirm, are you okay with doing full paperwork, or do you want to do this verbally? There are both options.
We can do paperwork.
Okay, good. Either one is equally as effective, as shown by studies, so it's completely your call. But yeah, so we will just start with that. We will take a lot of time at the end to restabilize. I don't want you walking out of here incredibly triggered by the event still. We are gonna, talk about some grounding techniques at the end as well. Similar to how we did at the end of last session with our 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, emotional senses. Mm-hmm. So I promise that this will be a good process for you. Any other thoughts before we get started?
No.
Great. Okay, well, let's go ahead and begin.